Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to go over the different forms of masking within Substance Painter. I'm going to start this off by clicking Add Fill Layer, and I'm just going to set this color to bright red to make sure it's nice and visible so you can see what we're doing. If I right click on this layer and click Add Black Mask, notice how everything disappears, and if I right click this layer and click Add White Mask, everything reappears. I'm going to go ahead and set this back to Black Mask. Now the way masking works is whatever you paint black, the mask will hide the material, and whatever you paint as white will reveal the material. So notice how I can use this paintbrush and I can start painting along my geometry to start revealing the material. I'm going to go ahead and right click this, set this back to black mask again. If I go a few tools down to polygon fill, I can then start using the 4 icons up here to start assigning based on geometry. So these first two have to do with the faces of the geo. So notice how this one actually does per triangle. This next one over does per face. The next one over does entire pieces of geometry. And the last one does UV chunks, which is based on how your UVs are laid out. So let me go ahead and zoom in on this cable. This cable was UV'd in 4 separate chunks, so notice how I can actually assign it based on those chunks. And with any of these 4 tools, you can marquee drag across geometry to assign mask to everything like so. There is a slider to change the mask from 0 to 1, white and black, to remove any masking, and you can use the hotkey X on the keyboard to shift this. So you can quickly start going back and forth to assign mask based on what you need. I'm going to go ahead and right click this layer and I'm going to remove mask. Next type of masking is geometry mask. If I go a little more to the right, you'll see this black cube. If I click this, this starts the geometry mask. The geometry mask has 2 types of mask. If I leave it by default, since I am using a UDIM style UV layout, I can assign it based on UDIM tile. Or if I change this little dropdown to mesh names, I can go based on individual geometry. Now I can come down through here and start turning things off one by one, or I can right click this thing and do exclude all. And from here, I can start clicking individual pieces of geometry. I'm going to go ahead and right click this and set this back to include all. Include all is how it's set to by default. Next type of mask, I'm going to right click this and do add mask with color selection. Now color selection is based on geometry that I baked to actually create this ID mask. And the way you can utilize this ID mask is by using this pick color and then selecting the color that you want to add. So notice how I click that first color and I get this layer. I can choose pick color again to select another one. And if I realize I clicked the wrong one, I can remove it by clicking this little button here to remove the mask. You can use a combination of these layers like so. So notice how after I created this color selection, I can choose to right click this right here and do add paint. And now I can start assigning some masking using this polygon fill. If I want, I could right click here again, choose add paint, and then I can add a paintbrush and start painting. This way you can utilize all your different sorts of masking, and I can choose to turn these on or off as I see fit. I'm going to go ahead and right click this, set this back to black one more time. Next type of mask I want to cover is Smart Mask. So over in your asset library, the 3rd icon over are Smart Mask. I'm just going to click and drag this over so you can see what happens. The way Smart Mask are working, it's going off of your baked maps. If I come down here to show the texture sets, it's typically utilizing any one or all of these masks. In this case, this one is utilizing a bit of the AO and curvature. But if you scroll through, you can see all the different kinds of other ones. Let me go back to layers. I can assign this like so. And these types of masks do have properties where you can change how they affect. So now I'm going to quickly try to assign some base materials to this object. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this layer, and to just start over again, I'm going to go ahead and create a fill layer, and I'll set this to some sort of bronze color. Now, everything I did prior, I was creating mask on the actual layer, but instead of doing it to the layer, I'm going to create a group and assign the mask to the group. So I'm going to select this, hit Control G to group, and then I'm going to rename this bronze metal. And I'm going to go ahead and utilize the geometry mask for this. Change this to mesh names. I right click this here to exclude all. And now I'm just going to start clicking the geometry that I need, that I want to be bronze. Know that at any point, if you miss geometry, you can always go back and add it to your mask. All right, that looks pretty good for now. I'm going to go ahead and create another fill layer. I'm going to group that fill layer, and I'll call this black plastic. Just like before, I'm going to go ahead and utilize the geometry mask. I'm going to change this to mesh names. Right click here, go to exclude all, and now just start clicking some of the black plastic. Right, and I didn't change this fill layer color, so I'll go ahead and change this to a black plastic color. Looks like I missed a piece. I'll get that. Gonna go ahead and create another fill layer. Gonna group this fill layer, and let's call this black metal. And I'll go ahead and change this to black, and I'll just bump up the metallic slider as well to 1 for now. Just like before, gonna use this geometry mask. I'll use mesh names, right click here to exclude all, and just start selecting some of the black metal. All right, next up, gonna do some silver metal. So just like before, create a brand new fill. Gonna create a group for that fill. Let's call this silver metal. This time I'm going to go ahead and use the polygon mask. So I'm going to right click this to add black mask, and I'll come over here to the far left and use polygon fill. And I'm going to change this color just to make it more visible. So there's only a few pieces that I want to be silver on this. And notice how I've missed a few pieces that should be different colors. So I'll go back to this bronze, grab some of these. I'll jump over to the plastic. Now, the one downside you may be noticing is whenever you go into this geometry masking, you can only see whatever material currently has that mask. So you can just click off of it to see what it looks like. So this part here should also be plastic. I'm going to make all of these bronze. I'll go ahead and make all of this silver. I'll make these black plastic. And I'll do one more for the cord. So make another fill, create a group, let's call this cord, and I'll just right click this to add black mask and assign a mask to this. And I'll make this fill layer kind of a reddish, dark red color. There we go. Now that I have all these masks, the reason I wanted to put the mask within groups is that way I can actually start messing around with some of the pre-made materials in here, and I can quickly just assign the material to a layer. So starting off with this silver metal, I'm just going to search for metal. And I'm not going to be too picky. I'm just going to grab the first one I see. So this aluminum, I'll just drag this aluminum directly under silver. And I'm just going to delete that old fill layer that I made. Next up, black metal. So I think I'll go with this steel painted metal. Sign it right there. There is a bit of blue in this, which I'm just going to kill because I want it to be black. And then I'll just go ahead and delete my old fill layer. Next one, I see a black plastic. Let's see if there's a plastic. So I think I'll just go with this one right here. Simple black plastic. And there's a bronze. I'm just going to search for metal again, and this brass pure looks pretty good. So I think I'll lower the metalness and raise the roughness a little bit. And I think I'll just change this color. And just like that, we have assigned 5 different materials using a handful of different masking.